Afternoon all. It's nice to see old faces I haven't seen for a while. Lovely to see you, and for everyone else, welcome as well. So I'm just here to give a little talk about Goodsam and a community of lifesavers. So for me, I am a product as a paramedic of the late 90s, a little after Paul. As a young new paramedic, I really wanted to use these new skills I've been learning to make a difference to that most time critical of calls, the hospital cardiac arrest. And back then, it was only the ambulance service that was called to these calls. And the teaching I had was, this is an ambulance problem. I want to be part of the solution. However, an out-of-hospital cardiac arrest is a community problem. It's not really an ambulance problem. It's a whole community problem. These are our neighbours, the person you see walking the dog every morning, the stranger who lives round the corner from you, whose life is interrupted by an event which is going to devastate their family and have an impact into our communities. Community problems often need community solutions. So if you, not you, some poor person, was to have a cardiac arrest in an international airport that we have across the road there just now, some numbers would suggest that they have an 80%, 80% chance of survival. It was that same person, if they had their arrest in the community, could be as low as 10%, less in some places. What on earth is going on in the airport that we're not managing to do in the community because we can do better? It comes back in large measure to the chain of survival. We know that it works. We've been working hard on optimizing it. The chain of survival does work, and we know that the earlier links make more of a difference to the chance of survival than the later links. How do we then optimize some of this so we can start making a difference? So this is the augmented chain of survival. So the bystander action in the hospital care sections, they're the same as the chain of survival as you know it. But as Gareth was saying this morning, we've realised we have to do more. The chain is more than that, and now it's a link. We need to foster a community that's ready to do CPR. And we need to look after people after they've experienced or witnessed or taken part in a cardiac arrest. So looking at the readiness, the Save Life Scotland partnership is well on its way to equipping 1 million people in our communities in how to do CPR and give them the courage to perform it should they require it. On top of that, there's all of us and everyone else who does a first aid certificate through work, whatever. Loads of us in Scotland. We're not short of people who know how to do CPR. And when you're sitting watching Netflix of an evening, 2 streets away, 2 doors away, someone has a cardiac arrest, your hands know what to do to help, but you have no way of knowing that that's happening and are able to offer that help. So Goodsam offers a solution to that. Just out of interest, who signed up to the Goodsam app? Oh, amazing, thank you very much. Goodsam, it's a crowdsourcing app which uses basically the same technology as hailing an Uber to alert people within a certain radius that somebody needs help. How are we using it in the Scottish Ambulance Service just now? Well, we're using it as an alerting system. We're making people aware that someone needs help. It's just an electronic extension of the person who witnesses a cardiac arrest shouting for help. We're not tasking anybody. You're not signing on. We're not asking for a commitment of time. If you register, it can sit in your phone and you can forget about it until one day it'll alarm and you will jump when it does. It's fully automated. That saves time. And we've seen that in action. Sorting out, we're meeting one day. I was booked on. Shorty's phone went off with a Goodsam alert before I was able to be told there's a cardiac arrest near you. The process is there are call handlers who can spot a cardiac arrest really well, go through their triage questions, and we've decided for now to limit it to the 2 codes we believe are the most likely to be a workable medical cardiac arrest. So the person who's not conscious and not breathing, or not conscious with diagonal breathing. As soon as we have that, the back end of our computer system sends the coordinates to Goodsam. That then uses a 500-meter radius and just pings anyone's phones within that radius. It's then up to you what you do with it. If you're busy, you had a drink, you're looking after the kids, if you can't go, don't worry, that's fine. No one is looking over your shoulder saying, there's a cardiac arrest, let's go and call Donald. Nobody knows. The call handlers don't know what's happened. The dispatchers, all happens in the background, so they don't have to worry about that. So don't be afraid to sign up. I know people, I speak to my colleagues, and there's sometimes a bit of reticence thinking, I don't want to be committed to more time. You're not committing to any time. You know how to do CPR. Should somebody nearby you have an arrest and you happen to be available, it allows you the opportunity to choose whether to do that or not. Chris Allison is a Goodsam responder. He was hoping to be here today, and he's allowed me to share some of his story. Chris also volunteers with the Coast Guard, and through his work with the Coast Guard, he had found out about Goodsam. So he signed up. And then one morning, he was just thinking about getting out of his bed and getting ready for the day, and his phone alerted him to round the corner. He said, a house round the corner. So he quickly grabbed on some clothes, ran into the corner, and found a distressed wife trying her best to do CPR on her husband. And we know that 80%-ish of our cardiac arrests happen in the home. Our bystander rate is fairly good in Scotland, but it's often performed by the person who's most distressed by that event. So Chris was able to come into the house, take over CPR, and carry on for the number of minutes it took for the ambulance to arrive. He then chose to stay and help our colleagues with that resuscitation. And in this case, they did manage to get Ross and the patient was taken to hospital. So this is just a wee quote from Chris. So as I had previous experience of emergency medicine through my work, I felt it my duty to register as a Goodsam responder. There's no right or wrong when it comes to CPR, but family members can often find it hard when they're highly distressed. The Goodsam app provides a mechanism to ensure bystander CPR is administered in private settings. External settings as well, but often it's usually private. But turning up to a cardiac arrest as a member of the public, or I would say as a healthcare person who's used to having some kit with you and now just has your hands, can be challenging. So the other end of the chain of survival that we talked about is the aftercare. So it's important to us, for everyone who's been involved in cardiac arrest, but for me just now, for the Goodsam response, it's important that we allow people a chance to respond should they have felt it was troubling. There is a function within the app to put some details down at the end of a case. It's not necessary. And one of the buttons there is to request a welfare check. Occasionally people notice it and click it, and then when I contact them and have a conversation with them by phone, usually they hadn't really realised what it was and they're fine. So each working day, we send out an email to anybody who had accepted an alert for the previous day, just saying, thanks so much, this may be hard, if you need to chat, get in touch. And some people do. Most don't, which is quite encouraging too. But some people do get in touch. And I've had some good conversations with folk. And actually, it's usually because when they've arrived, the person's been beyond help. They've sort of recognised that we weren't quite sure what to do, usually did the right thing, and then worried, maybe I should have done CPR. It's very reassuring for them just to have a little bit of conversation, go, you've done the right thing, don't worry about it. Thank you very much, and hope you're okay. But as we just heard before lunch as well, I'm no psychologist, but we've got Chest, Heart and Throat Scotland now as a partner. So we'll be referring, pointing people to Chest, Heart and Throat Scotland so that at some point after that event, if they were struggling, they have this mechanism to close that loop, get your feedback, try and put the thing behind them. So we've been using Goodsam for a little while now. We tried to do a big public launch a year ago, and it happened to coincide with the day Liz Truss's government collapsed. So I'd done a thing for STV News, been other things going on, and it just sucked all the oxygen out of the room. So we've continued with it anyway. the numbers are relatively small, but they're slowly increasing. And from today, I really want to see a change in that. So this is an example of, this is the last month. The blue line there indicates the number of alerts that our system sends to Goodsam. I should say, the system, call handler takes the call, gets one of these two codes, Goodsam gets alerted immediately. Occasionally, as the call develops, the call handler realizes that there's another element to it, such as there's violence on scene or persons beyond help, hanging, that sort of thing. And the code can change. When it does, it will drop off your phone and our voice will say, I can't remember the wording, but it'll just basically tell you, ask it to stand down, thank you very much, stop going to the scene. So these are the alerts that we send to Goodsam, although the actual number that will ultimately be a cardiac arrest that we want people to go to a bit less. The green line indicates the number of responders who have been alerted. And that looks like it's a difference, but not too bad. However, we notify up to 5 people per arrest. So actually there's a big, big difference between the number of alerts we send out and the number of phones that ever alarm. Red line then being the number who have accepted. It's relatively low, but there are people who turn up, like Chris, do some CPR, and are part of a success story. In Scotland, it's too small a number really at the minute to push a big change, but here's hoping we can make a difference there. Next, there we go. To look at it differently then, this is a map showing the first financial quarter this year of those two codes, not even the full cardiac arrest set that we get called to, those first two codes. Anything pink basically means either no phones alerted or wasn't seen by the person whose phone rang. Anything darker blue are where somebody has responded. So you can see there's a long way to go before we have any kind of decent proper coverage across the country. If we were to zoom in on the darker bit, so up towards Grampian, this is where Lauren Donaldson has been doing all the wildcat work. And there's a big community of people up there. That basically, Grampian, is what Scotland could look like. Down towards the central belt, there's more, obviously, there's a higher density of people, more people who are responding. But if I was to zoom in there, it would actually look like more or less the same thing. So there's a long way to go. It's a good system, and we need to push it. Does it actually work, though? Is it helpful? So this is a paper published last year by the European Society of Cardiology. This is from data from London Ambulance Service and East Midlands, I believe. It's useful, it's worth reading. So they've reported a statistically significant improved survival to hospital discharge, not just for hospital discharge, walk home to family through the use of the Goodsam app. So it definitely is a system that we're really keen to promote. What are plans for the future? Well, first off, to get everyone signed up, to reach a density of people that will actually make a difference, get our shift, I've tried that a few times, together. So when a call does come through, we're more likely to have a Goodsam responder than not, perhaps. For my ambulance colleagues, please be aware, random people will turn up sometimes now for the cardiac arrest. Thank them, be nice, I'm sure you do, but thank them, be nice to them, get them involved, they're happy to still be involved. And we will be having cards, disseminating cards that you can give to any bystander who's helped the CPR. Please make use of them and just help them in this journey of treating that patient. We want to engage with as many groups as we can who might want to partner with us to offer help. So if you are in the ambulance service here and you're thinking the organisation you work for might be able to engage with us and offer some help about promoting Goodsam with your own staff, please get in touch with me. Goodsam is started in the UK. Every ambulance service in the UK either uses it or is planning on using it. Almost everyone currently does. There's a couple that are just in the process of planning it, starting. It's also international though, so we have there's a UK forum I'm part of and also an international one, so we meet every now and again, and there'll be representatives from America, New Zealand, Australia, Europe, ourselves in the UK. And we always learn from each other, and we've all got slightly different systems, different ways of approaching things, and it's just a great forum for being able to discuss our experiences and try and figure out what might work best for us. So we're working on that. Currently, we've kept it simple. When you register, helpful to use our work ID actually. If you register with the work ID, we allocate people into different groups. So our own ambulance staff are in a group, other NHS and folks like fire service and so on, professional folks, we keep them in another group. And then you've got all these Joe Public basically. For now, we're treating everybody the same. These two codes, 500 metre radius, wherever you are in Scotland. That's a good starting point, but we can do better. So we're going to be analysing shortly some of the data to try and figure out for other parts of the country, should we extend the radius for some areas? If a person has a different skill set coming to the next one, if you're a nurse, doctor, paramedic, maybe we'd be comfortable sending you to a greater code set. And then for the lay person, keep it very small, keep it to the very local area, just what we think is a medical cardiac arrest. An interesting one is the Goodsam use of video. So there's a function where you can send a text to somebody's phone, ask to use their camera, and you can then remotely view what's going on. And then Sorty and myself met with Mark Wilson, who started Goodsam, and he showed us a real video of a cardiac arrest in America where the call handler switched from the telephone to video, and by giving CPR instructions, and as soon as the video came on, the language changed. It was like, no, move your hands up a bit, move your hands there, push deeper, and within a very few seconds, the CPR which was happening, which had been all right, suddenly became actually much, much better. So that's something that is a function. Be interesting to explore it a bit further. So these are ideas for the future of Goodsam. Coming back to this community lifesavers, can we develop a community lifesavers? And the answer is yes, we already have, and it's you, and it's me, and it's our neighbours, and it's everybody who is aware of how to do CPR. We can do it, we can make a difference. So my ask, a couple of asks just now, scan the QR code, or go to savethelife.scot/Goodsam, register with the app. It might take a few days for the process to work. And then put it in your back pocket. Put it in your back pocket, forget about it, and when it's alarms, you will jump. But if you turn up a cardiac arrest, it will be massively helpful. Another thing then, as Dominica was saying, further down the hallway there's loads of little credit card sized little flower things. Take a bundle, put them up at your local supermarket notice board, put them in the pub, hand them out to your friends and neighbours, and let's please encourage everyone to sign up. Thank you very much.